Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. And it's this beautiful month of April of 2025. Today is the 24th, so I hope you're doing well. The sun is shining, so after again my video I'll go to the beach and just do some meditation or chanting. You know, every day we have to really immerse ourselves in our spiritual practice, right? So this is the crystal ages, pretty much this is the Karayasata Allah, the seven crystal tones of creation of that crystal architecture, the crystal spiral, right? This is the true architecture actually of the angelic divine luminous beings, the Christos lineages here, the Essenes and so on, right? And of course the solar Rishi, the divine architects who designed this 15-dimensional universal time matrix. Okay, so like I said, very important, and the way out of the matrix is the divine union, right? Sacred union and so on is actually the divine love within the sacred chamber of our hearts, right? So very important to really take care of ourselves, love ourselves, forgiveness, right? Forgiveness, invocation of the violet flame is extremely important. Do some chanting or japa mantra meditation, or just focus on the Karayasata Allah, or I'm a being of violet fire, I am the purity God desires. Make sure you're protecting yourself. Call upon Solar Christ, Archangel Michael, right? Place the golden dome of protection around you, or hold on to that Excalibur, to sword of truth, right? The golden liquid light. That's how the angelic divine luminous beings were designed, with the golden liquid light, the crystal architecture with the crystalline emerald heart, right? Inside the chamber of our heart, remember there is a divine spark, right? That's connection to the divine, direct connection to the divine. We don't need any mediary or somebody telling us what to do. Is all by diving deep within, right? The Trinity structure, the base 12 mathematics, right? Because we are correcting the matrix, well, correcting, I mean the entire matrix was based on kind of draconian measurements, that was based on mathematics, running reversals and so on, the Metrotronic reversals, right? And it was siphoning energy from Mother Earth, Mother Nature, siphoning energy from our heart, from our chakras, from our energy vortexes, from our Kundalini, right? So very important here to be inner sustained, inner directed, right? And the eternal now plus my body, this is all being formed. Those who's been doing the inner work, transformational work, and I'm helping my soul group, right, who ended up in those dark projects, those black ops, terroristic organizations, right? That's who ended up also kind of part of that kind of CHIMERA group, right? Who became digital avatars in electrostatic bodies, the black goo, the black cube technology, and so black box programming, Armageddon software, just helping them with their rehabilitation, right? From that the red wave frequencies and so on, radio frequency, with they were hooked to the Internet of all things, the gold mine algorithm, right? And their entire limbic system was infected, right, with the SP, suppressive parasite entities. Their 7D chakra totally destroyed, their pineal gland totally destroyed, right? And they were turned into robots or cyborgs. This is kind of what happened to me. My lab, military abduction, the SSP, secret space program, with the CCP jet. We talk about the CHIMERA, SARS-CoV-2, right? What really kind of happens, and how the nanobus, nanotechnology, the parasites that siphons energy and light from our cells, right, and turning it into AI signals, turning it into kind of plastic, kind of artificial material. Okay, so this all being actually we've talked about it, it's all been recorded, there's scientific proof. I mean, this is advanced technology, guys. Things have been happening here for quite some time. This is nothing new under the sun, right? So making sure that we are doing the inner work, transformational work. There's a contract between DARPA and the Ashtar Galactic Command, right? The project, right? For DARPA, you can find my website, yanakalai.com. The contract is under services, right? So you can read that. That has to do with the Hieros Gamos, right? Technology that's on energetic synthesis, right? / Hieros Gamos. So, that comes from the Christos star family from Andromeda. They're hosting this ascension, okay? And I know that was on Lisa Rene's website and her newsletters, and it's been there for a decade, okay? okay? And that's again for the echelon, for DARPA, for HYDRA, for, you know, the for the elite, for the cabal, for the Illuminati, because I represent that bloodline. And you know, my soul group also belongs to that bloodline. I have also Nazi background, right? I'm the hybrid Anunnaki, Nazi kind of Pleiadian faction, those kind of rogue Anunnaki, rogue Pleiadians, right? And they were part of you know, the dark occult, or the black magic, right? The whole Aleister Crowley, all this Satanism, Luciferianism, the Luciferian covenant, right? They were turning them into you know, the Luciferian Knights Templar. So we have to do all this correction, all this rehabilitation, right? And start remembering who we truly are. We're spiritual beings having human experience, right? And you know, the spiritual warriors here under the law of one, right? We are now kind of responsible. We're on a CHRISTOS mission, okay? To help with the transition to the next octave, harmonic universe number 2, soul connection, consciousness expansion, living in peace, unity, harmony, balance, Christos Sophia consciousness, okay? So, and I have the 12D Ascension protocol on my website, yanakalai.com, under protocol, okay? So, and yeah, you can also read about, you know, sexual healing and the sacred vow. It's under about, and, you know, there's 12D shielding, unity vow, unity meditation. You can find it also on my Ascension page or on a contact page, guys. So again, and psychic self-defense and all these healing, and there's an audio for all that cleansing, clearing, purification. You can also find it on whether protocol or on my services as well. Pretty much some of it comes from you know, the Ascension glossary. It comes from energetic synthesis, Hieros Gamos, or crystal ages, right? You can chant the tone Karayasata Allah. That's the breastplate, you know, crystal ages breastplate, right? With these 7 crystal tones here, right? For your protection, for resurrection, for reactivation of your etheric DNA, right? With the potential of the 12D, 12 dimension, guys. So again, it's all about tuning in, right? So very important, right? Here with the cosmic angels holding the highest ascension timelines, right? And just kind of from the sun, from the galactic sun, the great central sun, this beautiful plasma galactic array frequencies are coming upon us. We're being inundated by those sacred ascension codes, guys. So being in outside, being in nature, doing meditation, right? Walking, chanting, and doing energy hygiene, grounding, right? Breath work, breathing, yoga, tai chi gong, and so on, right? So yeah, the energies for liberation, for ascension, right? It's all here. It's all about tuning in, right? It's the inner work, ascension, plan B, okay? So it all happens within us. It starts with us, within us, right? And it has the ripple effect. That's how we are helping others, activating of our heart. So then, you know, those who you know, we meet, right, their hearts also become activated, and that's again, we creating this new human heart grid, or the crystalline grid that's been also activated from extremely high places, dimensions, right? And that's how we are co-creating the new earth. Okay, so welcome. Today I want to introduce you to the man behind the CIA consciousness model. He was killed in the deadliest plane crash in US history. His name is Dr. Itzhak Bentov, right? So again, this is the kind of my bloodline, my background, and so on. He was born in Czechoslovakia. The other person I already mentioned, who was actually more on the dark side, I mean, you know, he was born in Czechoslovakia, right? His name was Jan, was it Jan? Wojtek Benjamin Hoch, right? And here people know him as Robert Maxwell, right? So those are these kind of Hebrew or Jewish lineages who've been hybridized, right, or reptilianized, and then also, of course, they have a Nazi background. So I represent all that. So whether you're on a positive side, right, with the government, or the negative side of that government, usually all these individuals got killed. Okay, so you see how important it is to stay inner directed, inner sustained, doing the spiritual work, transformational work, really, and important to exit the matrix, because we've been running the reversals. That was the draconian reversals, and especially in the military with all this sodomy and all these satanic ritual abuses and so on, right? We've been here kind of desecrated, right? Again, very important, the resurrect your katara grid, right? This for the ascension, very important, right? The tree of life, this is so important, right? So important. So you're walking these energies, right? Very important, because what was done like in the military or what humanity, right, it's been experiencing, right, that we were unplugged from our etheric DNA, right? And only 2 strands of DNA were left for humanity, right? And those guys in the military, all this violence, right? They ended up in electrostatic bodies in that fallen tree of life, okay? The embodied 3D fallen tree, right? So this is what happened, okay? How, the Katara grid is being, tilted, right? And how they're, the spheres, all the chakras, energy has been totally shattered, distorted, right? There's actually dark energy, so that their bodies become a vessel for those dark entities to come in, right? And those guys are then walking AI on the battlefield, executing the agenda of those negative aliens, right? And like I showed you, they're running reversals and so on, and we ended up here in the 10D draconian reversal matrix. They were plastering holograms, artificial holograms, right, over our consciousness, our energy field, aura, our sound body, because we're sound. We are 99.9% energy. We're sound, light, frequency, vibration, right? And those negative aliens, right, they pretty much were digressing us, all these MILABs, military abductions, and all these unethical experimentations in those underground military bases, right, or Moon, Mars, the Niburian, military bases, alien military bases, right? The poison everywhere, GMO, fluoride in the water, chemtrail, right? And all these narratives and all these kind of politics, the dark occult, and those children who were born in those satanic lineages, right? Luciferian lineages. I mean, I'm part of the bloodline, but we never practice all that, okay? But you're usually kind of born with the kind of Moloch tank, hooked to that Moloch tank, because here in America they immediately noticed who I was, right? And they immediately wanted to kind of, recruit you. I was introducing yoga to military, and voila, I was then attacked by the ISIS, the Mossad, the Zionists, and so on, the elite, the echelon, and what the bleep is going on, right? And now I am finding things, why, what is really behind it, and how really these guys, how they really operate, right? So this is all now under divine justice, right? Under galactic codex and so on. So, last time I showed you, right? This is now all going to divine justice, right? So we pretty much, everything is, guys, now being exposed. No stone unturned, right? No stone unturned. And who is really behind all these kind of experimentations, right? That's all going to divine justice, okay? Justice will be served, and that's why important to read the energies, and that's why the Hieros Gamos, right? Very important to tune into these energies of love, a frequency of self-care, forgiveness, compassion, right? Invocation of the violet flame, crystal ages, and so on, right? So, and that's how we overcome, that's how we ascend. So let's talk about Dr. Itzhak Bentov, who was born in Czechoslovakia, because I feel like for me, it's like we're ending the cycle, and we're just closing the cycle, ending the nonsense, right? Of all these the dark occult, the black, the dark agenda, right? No more. It's time to rehabilitate, time to let go, time to let God, time to, you know, heal, time to do all these corrections, bring everything right side up, and live in peace, unity, harmony, Christos, SOPHIA consciousness. And so Dr. Itzhak Bentov was born in Czechoslovakia during the World War II. Of course, he lost his you know, parents, siblings in a Nazi death camp, right? And then he went to Israel and he joined army and so on, and he helped invent the first rocket, even though he didn't have a formal scientific training. And he moved to the United States and he invented steerable medical catheter, and he was considered a brilliant mind. And so what he was claiming is that this man's model for consciousness used by the CIA believed that consciousness and physical reality are deeply connected through vibration. His main idea was that everything in the universe, from atoms to humans to the entire cosmos, is vibrating, and these vibrations are what create and shape reality. From, again, 13 Principles of Natural Laws, the Law of Vibration from Lisa Renee, right? You can read that this is so true. His idea of consciousness starts with the smallest particles, atom. He believed everything in the universe is vibrating or resonating. From atoms to molecules to human beings, everything vibrates. Even things like sound waves, light waves, and gravity waves all follow patterns of harmony and coherence. Disharmony, which is decoherence. Reality, according to Bentov, is made out of these vibrations. He also believed when vibrations cancel out to zero, our reality switches into different higher frequency state. And most of the time we experience normal reality, but in those tiny moments we may be connected to a deeper, more refined level of existence. Dr. Itzhak Bentov's work played a crucial role in shaping the theoretical foundation of the CIA's gateway process. To me, gateways, those are your chakras. Those are your vortexes, your portals to those other dimensions. That's why those negative aliens with the abduction, and if they know that you're a star seed, they are hijacking us and hacking our DNA and blocking us from entering these dimensions. They are poisoning us, right? And instead of channeling energies, right, they're creating, you know, cyborgs and dark digital avatars out of us. This is all going to divine justice, okay? And let me see, his biomedical and metaphysical models were central to Dr. Colonel Wayne McDonald's 1983 report for the U.S. Army, which explored methods for transcending space-time using the mind. Let me see, because this is another Lieutenant Colonel Joel Almosara. Let me see. So again, this is complex. I'm just trying to put some things together, because some of it seems to me what the CIA, what the government, what the military is doing, right? They're abusing, you know, well, highly advanced technology. They're trying to figure out those, you know, how the yoga operates. I mean, the energies, right, who are yogis, who are sages, right, the shamanic work, right, people who meditate, the Buddhists or the Hindu and so on, right? They're capturing these energies. They want to know how these energies operate, and so they're using that against us, right? Because the Nazis or the rogue Anunnaki, they're with these grays and with these aliens, right? And then they have highly advanced technology running reversal, scalar weapons, or CRISPR technology, the silent weapons, the directed energy weapons, and then they're harassing us, attacking us, and then they're creating, you know, terrorists or, like I said, the digital avatars out of us, and then blaming us, right? Then, you know, those guys in the military, join military, they end up on a street, in a hospital with all kinds of mental illnesses, in prison, or they are put to death. You know, so they are blocking our ascension, and they are desecrating us, right? and they're destroying our DNA, destroying our hologram, our consciousness, right? So that's why we're ending the cycle. We are exposing all that. We're reporting everything to Andromeda, right? And here the ground crew, the Ashtar Galactic Command, and that's why we have the Rehabilitation Project for the elite from my soul group. Okay, so what else here? That Bentov theories provided the scientific scaffolding that help explain how altered state of consciousness induced through techniques like meditation, feedback, hypnosis, and Kundalini yoga could lead to powerful transformation in perception. That's why in the military they use LSD, right? So they learn, I guess, how the energy flows, and through LSD and through SRA, satanic ritual abuses, black mass, right? Through black magic, like Aleister Crowley stuff, they're desecrating us, right? So instead of being spiritual warriors, defenders of truth and divine justice, defending the Constitution of 1776, right? So many of these guys, you know, they're highly advanced souls, and they're turned into terrorists, they're turned into psychopaths, they are turned into satanists, and now we know how it's being done and how, you know, these things been happening for a long time. So Bentov's ideas help support the notion that the human body and mind can be tuned like instruments, with vibrational coherence playing a key role in achieving states of deep awareness or even out-of-body experiences. His influence helped lend credibility and structure to the more abstract or esoteric elements of the gateway process. So again, I don't know how the military talks about the gateway. To me, gateway gets those the meridians, or these are the chakras, the energy vortexes, you know, your those are portals to higher dimensions, right? And so when you know how you channel your Kundalini, how you channel your energies, if you do breath work, meditation, Kundalini yoga, Kriya yoga, Japa mantra meditation, if you do Raja yoga, Bhakti yoga, Hatha yoga, and so on, right? That's how you achieve a higher heightened state of consciousness, whether it's Nirvana, Samadhi, right? That's the Satchitananda, okay? So Bentov wasn't just interested in engineering or medical inventions. His deep curiosity led him to explore something much deeper, consciousness and how it connects to the physical world. This journey led to his most famous book, Stalking the White Pendulum on the Mechanics of Consciousness. Very interesting, because Lisa Renee talks about the ascension, the mechanics of ascension, and here somebody who was born in Czechoslovakia, right? He wrote a book, Stalking the White Pendulum on the Mechanics of Ascension. So again, those who are interested, guys, okay, you can explore more about consciousness and how these things, right, being already explored, and the CIA, they have all these documents, unfortunately, because it was infiltrated by those negative, you know, aliens, the Orion group, the CHIMERA group, and the Rogue Anunnaki, and of course, they turned them into Rogue Pleiadians, right, or the other way around. This all got then weaponized. We got weaponized, and they were wanting to create the one world order, right? All this transhumanism, transgenderism, the technocratic totalitarianism, right? Because they're abusing highly advanced technology, they're abusing star seeds, and you know, they're also abusing the knowledge, the teachings of the ascended masters, of the solar rishis, the rishi sages of the Himalayan mountains. That's all going to divine justice, right? Galactic codex, and we are the cosmic sovereign law made manifest. In the book, Bentov shares a bold idea. Consciousness isn't just something created by the brain. Instead, it's a basic part of the universe, just as real and fundamental as matter or energy. His work combines modern science with ancient spiritual wisdom to create a unique model of reality. He believed that each part of the universe contains the whole, just like a hologram works. And this means every part of reality reflects everything else. It's a hologram. Okay, and rather than thinking of the brain as the source of consciousness, Bentov thought it acts like a radio, right? It's all about tuning in. So like tuning into a broadcast that's already out there. He believed consciousness is linked to vibrations. Our thoughts, feelings, and meditative states are all connected to certain frequencies, both in the brain and in the environment around us. So of course we are tuning in. We can be clairvoyant, clairsentient, claircognizant, and the psychiatric institution, the CIA, under the umbrella of DARPA, right? They're then diagnosing us with schizophrenia and with kind of voices in the head, and they're putting us on kind of medication, right, or drugs, and totally destroying our DNA, destroying our consciousness. That's all going to divine justice. The nervous system as a link. Bentov believed that the nervous system is the key connection point between the physical world and the non-physical or spiritual realms. Through practices like meditation, he thought people could tune their nervous system to universal frequencies, sort of like tuning a radio to a clear signal. This would allow someone to reach deeper levels of awareness and experience expanded consciousness. He also studied what actually happens in the body during meditation. Bentov invented a special device that could measure tiny movements caused by the heartbeat and blood flow, kind of like a scientific seismograph for the body. Through this research, he found something interesting. Normally, the vibration in the aorta, that's a big blood vessel, are slightly out of sync with the heartbeat. But during deep meditation, those vibrations become perfectly in sync. He called it phase lock. This means the heart and aorta are working together more efficiently, using less energy when you meditate, right? This discovery suggested that meditation doesn't just change your mind, it actually creates a powerful shift in how your body works, making everything run more smoothly and with less effort. Bentov says that it's our nervous system, our brain, nerve senses that allows us to experience reality. The body, made of bones, muscles, tissues, supports the system, but it's the nervous system, right? And through yoga, you're strengthening your nervous system. That gives us the picture of the world we see. Very important. That's why dealing also with the Draconians, with their psionic and psychic abilities for mind control. That's why when you are yogi, right, you know how to handle those energies via deep meditation, deep concentration, 12D shielding, unity vow, unity meditation, right? Grounding, diving deep within, the Ascension plan B, right? Having a very strong inner core, right? Having the armor of God, violet flame invocation, positive affirmations, right? So that's how I was able to overcome, of course, with the help of the Pleiadians, of Arcturians, of Andromeda, of Solar Rishi, right? Crystal Star family. We're here on the Christos mission, the Crystal Star project, right? For DARPA and so on. This is how we overcome this whole MK Ultra Nazism, right? With the Armageddon software, pestilence programming, with all these injections, nanobots of those negative aliens. This is how you override the God mind algorithm, God of all things, of the Dracos, Alpha Draconis, the Orion group, and the Chimera group, to become a true yogi, true spiritual warrior. So everything we perceive, flowers, chairs, teacups, comes to us through our senses. But our senses are limited. We can't see beyond ultraviolet or infrared light. We only hear a certain range of sounds. That means we're only perceiving a small portion of what actually exists. We're looking through a narrow slit of reality. As we evolve, this slit starts to open. We begin to perceive more of the full picture. It's not that we are seeing different realities. It's just that our view of the one big reality becomes wider. The eyes, ears, and other senses are simply extensions of the nervous system. That's why the energy hygiene. That's why all this purification or Epsom salt, right? That's why we have to take care of ourselves. We have to detox. That's why the diet is so important. So we are tuning in, into these cosmic energies, or we can differentiate what is correct, what is not correct, what is artificial, what is organic, right? Because so many people with their senses, right, right? Dumbed down because here I'm experiencing a drinking or smoking or drugs or vaping, right? A horrible food, medication, and so on. People they live in a false hologram, false reality. It's just total illusion, it's total Maya. Right? And that's why these energies, the essential symptoms, and people are going through all kinds of pain and infection and so on. Things are happening because we've been here mind control, we've been here poisoned, we've been lied to, we've been here under draconian hypnosis, amnesia. And now the body, the cells, right? Everything is awakening. We can read from our Akashic records. And, it takes time to integrate all that, to analyze all that. So resting, right? Breathing, deep sleeping, right? Deep sleep, meditation, the yoga, taking time for yourself, martial art, energy work. This is so important for us to overcome, to heal, right? To, make that leap, the quantum leap. Okay. So these senses, they're extension of the brain. Some people learn to expand this perception through spiritual practices. Yogis, for example, have developed ways to push the nervous system into a more advanced state. But sometimes these shifts happen naturally without any training. So some people may have spiritual awakening, but then we find out that's because in previous lives they already had many awakenings. In their previous lives, past lives, they were already monks, they were yogis, they were doing inner work, transformational work. So as you see, these energies are coming online, and also with divine timing, divine balance, perfect timing, right? We are all being awakened, we're all being remembered, we are remembering who we truly are. So when it comes to the soul, Bentov says most people treat it like a vague spiritual concept, something they think about at church and then forget about it. But in his view, it's the other way around. We don't have a soul. The soul has us. The soul is the eternal part. The body is temporary, like a car you drive until it breaks down, then replace. The soul gathers everything we'll learn in a lifetime and carries it forward. On a physical level, people seem completely separate. You sit there, you sit here, or I sit there. But if you look at a higher level, the level of the soul, our souls begin to touch, to overlap. So go even higher to what he calls the higher self, right? So very important to connect to your higher self, to connect to your sacred heart, your higher mind, so you can connect to the cosmic mind, right? Sacred mind of Father, Mother, God. Very important. We are spiritual beings having human experience, right? On a spiritual level, everything overlaps. There is no separation. We're all one. So, that's why when we are hurting each other, we're actually hurting ourselves, right? We're hurting the environment, the Mother Earth, Mother Nature, the animal kingdom, the plant kingdom, and the mineral kingdom. We're actually hurting ourselves because on our spiritual level, right, we are eternal, and it's all connected, interconnected. We're all one. We all come from source. Everything and everyone exists everywhere, all at once. That's the state of perfected being, or God. I'm God, I'm sovereign, I'm free. We already exist on all levels, these levels at the same time, but we just don't realize it. Like it or not, we are all evolving toward becoming more aware toward Godhood. But this takes time. Of course, there is no need. Now we're ascending. Some of us are quantum leaping, right? Here are the star seeds, or the spiritual warriors. Here we go. We are jiving. And Bentov says is that the universe actually wants us to learn. So we're learning our lessons. We didn't know, now we know, right? To expand our consciousness. Some of us are on the karmic path. That's me, 888, 38, and galactic karma, galactic wars, from galactic wars. Some people just want to light, right? But for us, it was important to dive into the darkness so we can resurrect these energies, transform these energies, and then teach the wisdom that comes out of it. Okay, so what it wants for us is to become all-knowing, right? Omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient. Okay, And so itself, because the system itself is intelligent, gathering information and sharing it freely. So what the belief with the all this economy and all these, right, bitcoins, and people just kind of sitting on their money and so on, right? So the cash flow of energy, right? The quantum financial system, where there's the Nesara, Gesara, humanitarian projects, right? You're working on yourself and you're helping others because you're sharing the wisdom with others, and this is how we overcome. This is how we are creating and activating the quantum financial system. So also Bentov challenged the idea of entropy. Normally we think that the universe gets more chaotic over time, but he believed that as the universe becomes more conscious, living things also become more aware. Well, the universe within us becomes more conscious and aware because we are the microcosm of the macrocosm. He also mentioned how sound, infrasound, very low sound, ultrasound, very high sound, can affect us even if we don't consciously hear them. Infrasound has been linked to supernatural experiences. One interesting concept he talked about is the Schumann resonance, right? Natural frequency. He talks about 7.5, but some people talk about 7.8 frequency hertz, caused by electromagnetic waves moving through the Earth's atmosphere or magnetosphere. And now we know that the hertz is some scientists reporting 40 hertz, 40 frequency vibration. That frequency is close to the brain waves, so that is why our brain waves are expanding. That's why those negative ones, they wanted to kind of even implant all kinds of negativity into our brainwave frequencies, corrupting it through electronic harassment, silent weapons, right? Directed energy weapons, scalar weapons, the microwave, the radio waves, and so on. So the 12D shielding, this is how we are protecting our aura energy field, right? Our brainwave frequencies, our heightened state of consciousness when we are meditating, right? That's why, being constantly attacked. And all this, of course, you can, as linked to meditation, remote viewing. Bentov believed that the human body is like a musical instrument. So are you playing what, guitar, whether 5 strings? Are you playing sitar? It can be sitar with 21 strings with perfectly attuned, right? What kind of music the guitar is playing when it's out of tune, right? So some people, you see these read aura energy field, right? If they're, drinking, smoking addictions, meat, canola oil, and who knows what else, they eat, how that body's out of tune. People don't feel good and they may not even look good, and they are in that state of entropy, right? Diseases. But this is not the angelic divine luminous race. We're not designed like that, right? It's all about growing, evolving. We're the beings of light and living thousands of years, okay, and having direct connection to God, to source. So the idea comes from an ancient Greek philosopher, Pythagoras. According to Bentov, each part of the body can be thought as playing different musical chord or note. This way of thinking helps explain how vibrations might affect our health, physical, emotional, mental, and of course spiritual as well. He studied how the brain works, especially during meditation. He noticed that people who meditate a lot sometimes hear high-pitched sounds. I mean, we can communicate. And now it's, we can enter, the God worlds of creation. The ultraverse. We can actually go really higher and higher. And, he believed these sounds come from different parts of brain. And the brain uses these frequencies to send messages within itself. He also thought that 2 small glands in the brain, the pineal and pituitary, that's why in the military and with all this mind control and all these interesting things, right, jabs and so on, the pineal gland, pituitary gland is its lock, its cage is destroyed. Actually, now the scientists even can prove, or with the children who received these horrible things or they were chipped, that there's a destruction, of the pineal gland. The pineal gland is the little tiny kind of crystalline antenna that can connect you to cosmic energies, right? And that you could talk to each other via vibration. Telepathy is now being all activated. We're telepathic beings, right? We can bilocate. And of course, time travel technology, there's nothing new under the sun. These vibrations travel through a small fluid-filled space in the center of the brain is called the third ventricle. This idea supports the theory that our brain communicates using energy and frequency, not just chemicals. We're just not amino acid, the proteins and so on, right? So that's why some of those scientists maybe need to start meditating as well and get on some diet and do some energy work, energy hygiene and yoga and meditation or martial art. Bentov studied how the brain works, especially during meditation. He noticed that people who meditate a lot sometimes, I already said that. And now he talks about the physical Kundalini reflex, right? So here what happens during the intense spiritual practices, right? This is the physical Kundalini syndrome. People experiencing this could have both body and mind changes. Some of the mental effects seem similar to, people talk about, well, now you're schizophrenia, you're some mental condition. No, you are just expanding your consciousness. You are omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient. Here, the health department, or the Kabbalah, the 3D kind of structure of the archon, of that AI, of that inorganic intelligence, are naming us, or that we're schizophrenic, or we hear voices. Well, it's natural. The nature communicates with us, right? We have soul. We're eternal souls. We have oversoul. That's your monadic sound. That's your 7 dimension, 8 dimension, 9 dimension. And I mentioned, like in my soul group, right, how that their monadic selves been reversed because they hijack their 6th chakra, 7th chakra, 8th chakra, right? This happened to me, and 9D chakra, right? So their universal Kundalini is being totally hijacked, perverted, right? Running all these reversals, right? Running all these reversals, and that's how they're creating Satanists and the terrorists out of them. Okay, so that's what the microcosmic orbits start doing, the proper breathwork, breathing, meditation and visualization, and get your energy flow corrected. Okay, this is the exhalation, right? This is your divine feminine energy here. That's your front area going down, and from your coccyx area, tailbone, right? Through inhalation, that's your masculine energy, you go up, right? And so this is how you start reverberating also your chakras, your meridians. We talk about the bija mantras, the lam, vam, ram, yam, ham, right? So through sound, through meditation, reverberation, understanding the energies, how it flows, how it operates, right? The 12D shielding, the unity vow, and so on, guys. This is how we overcome. This is how we heal, and this is how we exit, right? Exit the matrix here. So this is the 12D practice here, the 12D shield here, guys. Okay, so this is nothing to, this is, people think of sometimes Jewish star and so on. No, this is your sacred geometry, this tetrahedron. This is your sacred, it's in your DNA. We are platonic solids. We are sacred geometry. That's what gives us form. Okay? We are sound, light, frequency, vibration. We're sacred geometry. We're sacred sound. And this is, how we have this beautiful human, or some of us humanoid hybrid form. This is part of the, crystalline structure, cosmic energies, right? So again, you can study all that, the crystal spiral, right? The crystal spiral and so on. And very important how we're exiting this, how we're exiting the matrix, right? Especially the AI of the archons, right? Of this hybrid Anunnaki or the Nazis, right? The metatronic reversals, the flower of death, right? The entropy, we're going into eternal light. This is who we are. This is nothing new under the sun, right? The crystal lotus is here, the flower of life. And this is the eternal, universal eternal consciousness, open source. We've been here with frequency fences. They were like we were in prison planet, right? Right? Time to be free. I'm God, I'm sovereign, I'm free. With God's sovereign free boundaries. Okay? And here's also a mathematical expansion for inner sustainability. Okay? Essential glossary, Lisa Renee, right? So the number always, it duplicate itself, right? 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, right? 1, and now 2 plus 2 is 4, 4 plus 4 is 8, 8 plus 8 is 16, 16 plus 16 is 32, 32 plus 32 is 64, and so on. It's always going back to zero. It doesn't take the energy from the other, from the previous number, like it's Fibonacci, Fib of no chi, right? Or the golden ratio. So do you see how it's inner sustained, inner directed? That's why the ascension, plan B, that's why the inner work, the transformational work is key. Okay. And so what else he's talking about? You know, you can, guys, let me see, read. There's still more. So maybe let me continue it next time. We talk about the physio kundalini reflex. Okay. So he talks about the samadhi, the meditation, the kundalini rising, awakening from yoga, meditation traditions, and so on, right? This is, you know, powerful energies that rises through the spine during deep spiritual awakening. Can you imagine? So this is all, this is what he believed. This is what he believed, that during very deep meditation, the brain builds up an electric current in the sensory cortex. Okay. And this current creates two magnetic fields around the meditator's head, right? Each with opposite polarity. And so these magnetic fields pulse in harmony with the body's other rhythms. Okay. He talks about the 7 cycles per second. 7 hertz frequency often seen in meditation. And he says that our planet's environment is filled with constantly changing electromagnetic fields, and Bentov believed that a person in deep meditation can receive and respond to these changes because their brain becomes tuning like a radio station. The head antenna both sense and receive energy and information. Okay. So as the earth and universe shift, those changes affect the brain's resonating frequency during meditation. The brain translates this energy into new levels of awareness, giving the meditator a deep sense of connection with life and the cosmos. This could explain why some advanced yogis seem to live in perfect harmony with the world, right? They're staying healthy, calm, resilient, right? Through all life's ups and downs, right? So the 0 point divine neutrality, instead of all this moodiness and unstable, unsteadiness, being unstable, right? Here, just dealing with somebody who is kind of having addictions, or you know, drinking and so on. And like I said, the moodiness, right? Just people, all these triggers, people come with all these triggers, right? And they love you, they hate you, and so on. It's tragic, it's traumatic. Okay, so we need to learn how to channel these energies properly and how to control ourselves. And these triggers needs to be, of course, registered, acknowledged, and needs to be transformed, transmuted. So we have project for those who were in the super soldier projects and so on, right? It's for DARPA, those black magicians there, and for my soul group, the Marines, right, who ended up in those dark projects. Bentov believed that this super conscious state is a form of natural alignment, is magnetic and bioelectric harmony with the universe. And interestingly, Bentov wasn't alone. At the first international conference on psychotronic research in 1973, 8 scientific papers shared the same basic idea, that we can integrate with the universal energy field. These researchers suggested that psychic abilities like telepathy, clairvoyance, clairsentience, intuition, they come from tuning into this universal field. In yoga, these abilities are called siddhis, right? And they often show up naturally as someone goes deeper into meditation. True yogis don't focus on gaining powers. They aim for full self-realization, self-actualization, self-mastery. That's why we're here, right? To, again, to realize ourselves, to actually awaken to that we are the ascension, you know, we are the ascension, we are the masters, right, of ourselves. We are the micro, you know, we are the universe, the micro universe, omniverse. I mean, we are the universe. Okay, this is the realization here, the complete awareness of who we truly are, and we know our place in this universe. We come from cosmos, we come from star, all kinds of star constellations, planets, and so on, or some of us from Lyra, right? Armathena, Stargate D12. And we are resurrecting these energies. But unfortunately, right here, tragically, Itzhak Bentov died in 1979. He was among the passengers on American Airlines Flight 191, which crashed shortly after takeoff from Chicago O'Hare Airport. The disaster claimed the lives of all on board and remains the deadliest non-terrorism related aviation accident in the U.S. history. Despite his early death, Bentov left behind a profound legacy. His pioneering work continues to influence thinkers, spiritual seekers, and consciousness researchers around the world. And here we go, guys. Meditation, this is the way to go. The yogis, right, this Rishi consciousness, they're all here helping us with the ascension, with healing, with transformation, right, with the ascension, with the transition to the next octave, harmonic universe number 2. So it's all about upon us, right, tuning in and just feeling these energies and being the change we want to see in the world and co-creating the new earth. Many blessings and namaste. I'll talk to you next time.